Venus and Serena Williams are two of the greatest tennis players in history, but you may not know that they owe much of their success to their lifelong trainer and father, Richard Williams. Let's explore the truth about how he raised them and how he continues to inspire them. Richard Williams began training his daughters when they were 4 years old. However, as he told CTV in 2014, he had big plans for Venus and Serena Williams long before that, revealing that he penned a 78-page manifesto in which he planned out a future of tennis domination for his daughters. He admitted that he was calling them the #1 girls in the world before they were even born.
Before they were born, a lot of people thought I was crazy because I would walk around a sign like people protesting, they are the #1 girls in the world.
Why tennis? As Richard recalled in his 2014 biography, Black and White, The Way I See It, he was watching TV one Sunday when a tennis match happened to catch his attention, a moment that would change his family forever. Sharing what made an impression on him the most, he shared, "I will never forget standing there in amazement, watching the tournament director present a 25-year-old professional tennis player from Romania named Virginia Ruzici a $40,000 check for winning the tournament." As he listened to the announcer quip that the sum was pretty outstanding for a few days' worth of work, Richard couldn't help but agree. He wrote, "Without hesitation, I said to myself, I'm going to have 2 kids and put them in tennis." Venus was born in 1980 and Serena followed in 1981, at which point Richard was set. He continued, "I had my game and I had my girls. It was time to put them together." Richard Williams may have been convinced he'd turn his daughters into tennis superstars, but it wasn't going to be easy. The young family settled in Compton, California, where local tennis coach Larry Reddy told ESPN the sisters made their tennis debut at such a young age that he'd see them sitting courtside with rackets in their strollers as their parents played. Once they were old enough, Venus and Serena Williams played tennis for 3 or 4 hours a day, but not before their dad fought other people, including gang members, off the courts. He was so committed that he didn't back down after an altercation left him with several broken ribs and 10 missing teeth. Richard wrote in his biography, "To this day, I wear my toothlessness as a badge of courage." He said he returned from the beatdown to face off against a gang's leader and won. He reminisced, "It had taken 2 years and almost destroyed my body and my spirit, but in that moment, none of that mattered. What mattered was the courts were ours." The family played in Compton until 1991 before moving to Florida to continue their training. Serena later reflected to NBC Sports that her dad's dedication changed everything. She said, "It's changed sports. It's changed history. Who would have thought that he could have raised 2 black girls to play a sport that African Americans haven't typically done well in? Every time I stand out there, I think that I wouldn't be here if somebody didn't have that vision for me." Richard Williams has always had his daughters' backs, and it's never been more evident than in 1995 when the Williams patriarch shut down an ABC News reporter who tried to question a 14-year-old Venus Williams' self-confidence. In the clip, Venus was asked if she thought she could win an upcoming match. She professed that she knew she would succeed, but the reporter wasn't convinced. After he questioned her confidence, Richard stopped the interview and said, "What she said it was so much confidence the first time, but you keep going on and on."
You dealing with a little black kid? And let her be a kid. She answered it with a lot of confidence. Leave that alone.
Richard also accused the press of doing, quote, "the worst media job that they have done on any human being in the world when it came to covering his daughters." Richard Williams didn't just teach Venus and Serena Williams on the court, he passed on invaluable life lessons that would serve his daughters for years to come. First, he instilled in his girls the greatest lesson his own mother, Julia May Williams, taught him. You've got to be rough, you've got to be tough, and you've got to be strong. According to The Guardian, he also endorsed several values he hoped his daughters would never forget. You may be surprised to learn that tennis wasn't the most important thing. As the outlet noted, Richard taught, "God first, family second, education third, business fourth, and then only tennis, some way back in 5th place." Serena also took her father's financial advice to heart. As she told Chase Chats in 2020, "My dad always said athletes lose their money. He always talked about the importance of not losing it once you get it, and not just buying everything you see. That has stuck with me for my whole life." She also said that she could have used even more guidance, conceding, "Honestly, I wish I had learned more about banking and how it works. I didn't learn that until way later, and I really wish I would have learned that sooner so that I could have made my money work for me in different ways sooner and probably better." When Venus Williams won her first ever Wimbledon title in 2000, she became the first black female Wimbledon champion since Althea Gibson won 2 back-to-back tournaments in 1957 and 1958. Perhaps the only person more excited than her was Richard. During the game, Richard made headlines for holding up 6 different signs, including ones that read, "The British fans are the best in the world," and "I need an ice-cold Coca-Cola." When his daughter won, he held up a board that proclaimed, "It's Venus's party and no one's invited." The move raised eyebrows, as did the fact that he allegedly shouted "Straight Outta Compton" before jumping over the NBC broadcasting booth to perform a triumphant dance, according to The Guardian. Oprah Winfrey brought up the incident with Venus during a 2003 interview, bringing up criticism her father had received and asking if she had ever felt embarrassed by her dad. Venus was adamant that she was in no way embarrassed by him, adding that her dad's actions at Wimbledon were misinterpreted. She said, "It wasn't a dance, people just wrote that. He jumped up and down. I'm proud of my dad. He is an unbelievable visionary, and I think Serena and I understood that even when we were small." Throughout the 2015 tennis season leading up to the US Open, there was one person visibly missing from America's biggest tennis courts, Richard Williams. According to the New York Post, health issues were to blame for his absence, as Richard was rushed to the hospital that spring for an undisclosed reason. Serena Williams felt his absence, and she made that clear on numerous occasions. When she won in Miami in April, she told reporters, "I would like to dedicate this to my dad. He's not here. I miss him. I hope he's watching. I love you, Daddy, and this one's for you." Then, at a post-match press conference in August, she called him the most important person in her career and said that his absence from her was affecting her. She said, "I do miss my dad, obviously. I try to reach out to him a lot. He still tells me things I'm not doing right." Jump to that September when she called him, quote, "probably the best coach ever" at a pre-open press conference. She quipped, "If we talk about numbers, he's got a lot of slam titles, and he's only had 2 players. Imagine if he had 3. As Serena told Oprah Winfrey in an interview, "Our father doesn't get enough credit. He showed us how to serve, and we have the biggest serves in women's tennis. He stayed up many nights watching film so he could teach us." When Serena Williams said "I do" to Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian at New Orleans Contemporary Arts Center in November 2017, there was one thing visibly missing from the ceremony, or rather, one person. Richard Williams was supposed to walk his daughter down the aisle, but as she revealed in her 2018 HBO documentary, Being Serena, he pulled out just 1 hour before the nuptials. She recalled that he was in New Orleans, ready to attend the wedding, but sent her a text an hour before it was set to begin that said,
"Serena, I don't want you to be mad at me, but I just can't walk you down the aisle. I'm not myself anymore. I'm too nervous."
Serena said she understood why he wouldn't walk with her, while noting that a lot of people probably wouldn't react the same way. Serena acknowledged the struggles Richard had gone through over the years, saying, "His health is better now, but I know he still doesn't feel like himself, doesn't feel like he's perfect, and if he doesn't want to be up there in front of a lot of people, I completely understand." According to the doc, she texted back, "Daddy, it's okay. If you don't want to come to the wedding at all, that's okay too. I'm not going to be upset with you about it, so I don't want you to be upset about it. Our family knows what we have. We just want each other to be happy. That's what matters." Richard Williams can't stay away from tennis, despite reportedly being in less than ideal health. In 2016, he suffered 2 strokes, which it was later revealed had a major impact on his day-to-day life. According to The Sun, as Richard's divorce proceedings with Lakeisha Williams grew nastier in 2020, his doctor told the court that he suffered damage to his brain tissue and that complications from the stroke included memory loss, as well as weakened muscles and difficulty with speaking or finding the right words to use. While the doctor conceded that Richard eventually regained his ability to properly form words, he nonetheless still suffered from some degree of dementia. Despite these serious issues, it seems Richard isn't able to resist coaching his daughters. In July 2021, Venus Williams posted a video to Instagram showing her practicing on a court with her dad standing by her, giving advice. As one Twitter user commented, "The coaching legend is still at it." Venus confirmed just that herself when she responded to a comment praising Richard for still being her #1 supporter after more than 3 decades. Venus's reply was simply, "Every practice." Obviously, Serena and Venus Williams' dad is a big fan of his legendary children. According to NBC Sports, Serena once said of him, "He always tells me I'm so good and he's so proud of me, and he can't imagine how good I am. He always says, 'Don't put pressure on yourself, be happy with what you have.'" That's exactly what he did before Wimbledon 2012. Serena had been incapacitated for nearly 12 months before returning to the sport in mid-2011. In July 2010, she cut a tendon in her right foot in a freak accident after stepping on broken glass. According to The Guardian, in March 2011, she found out that she was quite possibly near death after doctors found that dangerous blood clots had formed in both of her lungs. Then, as Richard recalled in his biography, just as Serena started to recover, she got an infection in her stomach and had to have a drain tube put in to help her heal. And so he felt anxious about Wimbledon and told her to set thoughts about winning or losing the tournament aside. Instead, he joked, "You go out there and you put your best foot forward. Not the one you cut up, put the other foot forward." Serena won, and Richard, of course, was elated. He wrote in his biography, "Tears coursed freely down my cheeks, and I didn't care who saw them." Clearly, there's a lot of love in the Williams family, and we're not talking about the tennis score. We mean the real thing. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite stars and their families are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.